All of these reincarnations, all those name changes are attached to really bad deeds.
You know, God told me to do nothing. But you understand, you're doing something. Other people that need to do something, because this is ridiculous. Y'all watching, us watching this shit. You feel me? So he wants me to do nothing and to figure out whatever.
I know you, Puff. I know you hide things well. I know you bury things well. I know you lie well.
Send it to us. That's why God telling me not to do nothing. Y'all do it. Y'all see it. Y'all watch this shit.
You didn't think I would ever get to the point of telling people what you've done.
I'm not really supposed to be doing that.
Put us in a room with people who don't know. And he's the most powerful man.
I want to fight for, just and not guilty. I want to have a life to be able to live. It's really going to be hard for me to take more hits than I take it.
We need the core theme to be, you didn't do anything wrong. We're losing sight of the big picture, man. It's the middle of September and there's still no indictment.
Bro. Then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mark.
When you're a leader in that way, it's admirable until you get to the point where you want to control everyone around you. He got to that point.
It's like Scarface, the movie. I want the world and everything that's in it. But you got everything.
Hey, yo, New York, we did it! Harlem, we did it, Mount Vernon, we did it!
Nobody's gonna be bigger than me.
Sean is the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. We'll never see a Sean in my lifetime again, ever.
It was like the more money he got, the more power he got, the more power he got, the more money he got. And he always felt like money can get him out of everything.
I do feel it's important that we let the public know from the juror standpoint, just kind of how we reach the verdict. It's not everything that the media has put it out to be.
You want to put the stuff in my fanny pack, King?
He's creating a narrative always. He is the best storyteller in hip-hop. He thinks he's Black Superman. I can do what I want.
You can't go on for long in life doing the things that he was doing before something eventually happens. You can't continue to keep hurting people and nothing ever happens. It's just a matter of time.
I was dazzled by his ideas and his unique talent. But he was a very different Sean Combs back then. Sean was 19 when he dropped out of Howard University. He wanted to be in the flashy, swaggy music industry. He started off dancing, wanting to be in videos, wanting to be a pop culture mover and shaker at a time where things were changing.
The late 80s, it was fantastic.
There were a lot of independent labels that gave birth to hip hop in the way that we know it today. Heavy D was the biggest rapper signed to Uptown. We called him the official mayor, and his influence reached all the young people in the neighborhood, including the young Sean Combs, who was at Mount St. Michael High School, a Catholic private school. He would knock on Heavy D's door every day.
The only entrance into hip-hop at that point was Andre Harrell and Russell Simmons. Into the corporate hip-hop world, into the money.
Sean had impressed Andre enough to give him an internship, and that was the beginning. He had the Gumby, and he looked like a scholastic dweeb.
But Sean was so determined.
Andre Harrell, Heavy D, I'll Be Sure, they had all the money and all the power, and I was like, I don't know what they did, but that's what I want to do.
Sean grew up with the illusion of what masculinity looks like. My first encounter with Sean, I remember it like yesterday. My family, we rented the first floor of Sean's house. I was my mom and dad's only child, so now Sean has somebody to brother up with. We experienced a lot of firsts together.
I didn't know much about him. I know that he had a big ego. I met him around 89, 90. My job was to promote music videos. And Puffy, he was always doing the party promotions, so he's always like handing out the flyer.
They were the most successful parties at that time, but they were all about promoting himself.
I went to a party for a good friend. It was getting very late. Puffy is like, oh, you know, I'm having an after party at Andre Harrell's house. Puffy is like very polite, you know, and thanking me for helping him. And he asked me, oh, wow, I just got this call, you know, this girl backed out of this music video, you know, can you do it? And I was like, I don't do music videos. And I needed a ride back to Manhattan. So I went along, and I never forget, I had the same clothes on that I had from the night before. The music video was called Straight from the Soul by Finesse and Sinquist. The whole premise was for me to jump out the car and go with these girls and get away from the pimp guy.
Was there ever a time that Sean Combs assaulted you?
Yes. Someone called me up and told me that, he said, you know, he has, you know, video. And I was like, what? I approached a lot of people for help. I got things like, what do you want me to do about it? To, if I help you, I can't get into his parties. I avoided him for a very long time. I ran into him one day. He came to me. He got on his knees and swore he did not do this thing to me and denied it. And that is the very last time I talked to him.
If you think you know the whole story, you're wrong. We are going episode by episode through The Reckoning, and the timeline of these revelations is actually terrifying. I'm showing you the clips, the reactions, and the moment the case turned upside down. Here is the full season breakdown. Only 2 months after Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced to 50 months in prison, Netflix dropped what many are calling the most explosive celebrity expose of the decade. Sean Combs, The Reckoning, directed by Alexandria Stapleton and executive produced by 50 Cent. This 4-part docuseries isn't just another music biography. It's a full-blown autopsy of a fallen empire. The first episode opens not with a scandal, but with a dream. Grainy archival footage of a young Sean Combs hustling through the halls of Uptown Records, wide-eyed and ambitious. It's the story of a kid from Harlem with charisma sharp enough to bend the room. By the early 90s, he had built Bad Boy Records, the label that redefined hip-hop's glossy era and made him a mogul before 30. But before the fame, there was a tragedy that foreshadowed everything to come. The episode revisits the 1991 City College Stampede, a charity basketball event organized by a 21-year-old Combs. When 5,000 people rushed the doors, chaos erupted. 9 fans were crushed to death.
I'm 19 and I always like seeing people entertained. And I thought, you know, over the holidays, just wanted to throw a celebrity basketball game in Harlem.
I was at the game. I was on the floor. All of us was there. Every rapper in New York, right? Your MTV Raps came.
I'm at City College in the heart of New York City for the Puff Daddy Heavy D first all-time celebrity all-star classic.
That was one of the biggest basketball games. If that would have turned out correctly, it would have went down in history.
There's no more room, but everyone still wants to come.
We open up the doors, everybody starts flowing through, but then thousands more come.
Sean over-promoted, overhyped, and that led to a crowd.
The death toll from last week's stampede at a New York charity basketball game has risen to 9.
One of the unanswered questions remains who's to blame for the stampede that killed 9 people.
My dream for this evening was to bring a positive program to my people, to people of my age, and to people in my community. Whatever must be done to ensure that this never, ever, ever happens again.
That's how he got super famous, was that game and those deaths. That's the beginning of Puff Daddy.
Brass that afforded Uptown its distribution money wanted Sean out.
There were no charges filed, but investigators quietly debated his culpability. The doc frames this as a turning point, the moment where ambition and recklessness first collided. From there, the reckoning dives into Kirk Burroughs' disturbing recollection that following the stampede, a distraught Combs allegedly struck his own mother, Janice, in a fit of rage. The scene is gut-wrenching, not just because of the claim, but because of who it involves.
Kirk Burroughs' allegations that, claims that he firsthand saw Diddy slap his own mother, Janice Combs. Here's what he said.
He was holed up in a hotel on the east side, him and his mother. He didn't know what was going to happen. And I saw Janice question Sean, and I saw him put his hands on her, call her a and slapped her.
Janice Combs has since publicly denied the allegation, calling it inaccurate and patently false.
According to reports, Janice Combs has addressed this. She said, I'm portrayed as an abusive parent. This is untrue. As I have stated previously, I was a single mother raising my son. I held 3 and even 4 jobs in an attempt to provide a comfortable upbringing and quality education for my child. I raised Sean with love and hard work, not abuse. The allegations that my son slapped me while we were conversing after the tragic City College event are inaccurate and patently false.
Still, the inclusion sets a dark tone for the series, that the violence wasn't born in fame, but maybe always lived close to it. Then comes one of the most chilling testimonies in the episode, Joy Dickerson Neal's story. She claims that in 1989, long before Bad Boy Records, Combs drugged and sexually assaulted her, and that he recorded the act.
Was there ever a time that Sean Combs assaulted you?
Yes. Someone called me up and told me that, he said, he has, video. And I was like, what? I approached a lot of people for help. I got things like, what do you want me to do about it? To, if I help you, I can't get into his parties.
Showing the footage to others in the industry. Her mother's handwritten letter to Combs, pleading for him to stop showing the tape, is shown on screen. One of the doc's most haunting visual moments. Combs has denied the allegations, but the case remains open. What director Stapleton captures beautifully is the central paradox of Diddy's rise. Every success came with a shadow. The title Pain vs. Love isn't just about relationships. It's about the war between control and compassion, between the public image he built and the private chaos that followed. By the end of the episode, the tone shifts. We see Diddy in vintage footage, dancing, celebrating, untouchable. As narration warns, and just when the world started celebrating his genius, tragedy struck again. The music fades, the lights dim, and you realize this is not a story of success. It's the story of what happens when success turns into something darker. Key reaction to Episode 1, Pain vs. Love, hit social media like an earthquake. Within hours of its premiere, #DiddyDoc and The Reckoning Netflix were trending across Twitter, X, TikTok, and Instagram, with fans describing the opening chapter as gut-wrenching, unsettling, and the moment Diddy's mask finally slipped. Clips of the City College Stampede segment flooded feeds, particularly the haunting slow-motion montage of chaos outside the gymnasium doors, juxtaposed against Diddy's own archival footage from the same night. The emotional contrast struck a nerve. Viewers called it one of the darkest moments in music history that no one ever talked about.
My dream for this evening was to bring a positive program to my people, to people of my age, and to people in my community. Whatever must be done to ensure that this never, ever, ever happens again.
The hashtag CityCollege91 gained over 25 million views on TikTok within 2 days. Some viewers were shocked to learn that no criminal charges were ever filed, with creators stitching the clip to point out how the tragedy seemed to mark the first time Combs walked away from devastation untouched. One viral tweet read, "That stampede wasn't an accident. It was the first red flag." He's been walking away from other people's pain since day one. Others focused on Kirk Burroughs' jaw-dropping claim that Combs allegedly hit his own mother following the incident, an allegation that left audiences divided. Even though Janice Combs publicly denied it as inaccurate and false, the moment sparked furious debate about when and where Diddy's alleged violent behavior truly began. On TikTok, fans dissected every frame of the interview. Reaction videos show users pausing, rewinding, gasping. One creator said, "You can literally feel everyone in that room stop breathing when Burroughs says that line. It's not even what he says, it's the way he says it." Meanwhile, true crime podcasters and pop culture YouTubers jumped on the story within hours. Many noted how meticulously the documentary frames early signs of control, volatility, and unchecked ego that later dominate Diddy's career. YouTube breakdowns titled "The Origins of the Bad Boy Monster" and "How the City College Stampede Defined Diddy" racked up millions of views overnight. But the most polarizing reaction came from longtime fans. Some defended him, arguing that young Puff was ambitious, not malicious. Others weren't as forgiving, saying, "We've been ignoring the red flags for decades. Every rumor we brushed off in the 2000s, it all started here." The episode's most chilling moment, Joy Dickerson Neal's assault story, triggered emotional responses across survivor communities online. Threads filled with messages of support for Joy and outrage at the industry's silence. The letter from her mother, shown in the episode, became a heartbreaking symbol of how power can bury truth for decades. Industry insiders quietly began to weigh in too. Former Uptown Records staffers, anonymous but verified on X, hinted that the doc barely scratched the surface of what really went down behind closed doors. Music journalists pointed out that this episode reframed Diddy's origin story not as a rags-to-riches triumph, but as the blueprint of unchecked power and impunity. As the dust settled, Episode 1 left audiences shaken, not by the fame, but by the pattern. From the City College tragedy to early allegations of abuse, viewers began connecting dots that had been hiding in plain sight. One comment under Netflix's official trailer summed up the mood best. "This isn't a documentary. It's a confession from history we refuse to hear." And as Episode 1 fades to black with that final line, just when the world started celebrating his genius, tragedy struck again. Social media couldn't stop asking one thing: if this was only the beginning, what horrors were still to come? If Episode 1 laid the foundation for Diddy's rise, Episode 2 rips open the world he built, exposing how fame, paranoia, and ego collided to form one of the darkest chapters in hip-hop history.
He's saying to himself, how do I get out of this? Maybe I can convince some witnesses that I'm not the guy who I am. Eventually, he's going to get to the point where he's going to ask himself, how did I get myself into this situation?
The episode opens with a slow montage. Diddy on red carpets, champagne in hand, surrounded by flashing cameras, set against the somber narration. In the 1990s, Sean Puffy Combs was untouchable, but power always demands a price. From there, the reckoning plunges into the bad boy versus death row era. The cultural battlefield that shaped and nearly destroyed an entire generation of hip-hop. Through archival clips and first-hand testimonies, the episode reconstructs how the tension between Combs' Bad Boy Records in New York and Suge Knight's Death Row Records in Los Angeles spiraled into something far more dangerous than music rivalry. Industry insiders recount how Diddy's polished, suit-and-tie image contrasted sharply with Death Row's raw gangster energy. But behind the scenes, both labels were playing with fire, each trying to outshine the other through intimidation, money, and power moves. Suge Knight's infamous 1995 Source Awards moment, where he took shots at Diddy on live television, come to Death Row, reappears here, remastered and chillingly narrated. Viewers watch as the crowd erupts in chaos. not realizing they were witnessing the spark that would ignite years of bloodshed. One former Bad Boy executive describes the atmosphere bluntly. It wasn't about who had the better artists anymore. It was about who owned the streets, and Puff wanted that throne. Midway through the episode, the tone shifts. Former LAPD detective Greg Kading, who led the special task force investigating Tupac Shakur's 1996 murder, takes center stage. Sitting in a dimly lit room, Kading reveals a damning proffer testimony from Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a member of the Crips, who claimed the gang was offered $1 million to assassinate both Tupac and Suge Knight.
You said that Puffy called and said, "Was that us?" And you didn't say nothing.
I didn't say nothing. Yeah, you're right.
Apparently, there was supposed to be $1 million that Zip was supposed to bring back, but he ended up keeping the money and buying a nightclub with it.
That's what the FBI said.
The FBI said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys never got any money?
Never.
For anything?
Nothing.
Archival police documents flash on screen as Kading narrates. The name that came up repeatedly was Sean Combs. The episode freezes on Kading's face as he continues. We had testimony, money trails, and witness statements suggesting Combs put out the hit. But it never stuck. The question is, why? Combs, in previously unseen 2008 interview footage, denies every allegation, calling it garbage and a dangerous lie that could get people killed. But the show doesn't let the denial rest. Kirk Burrows, Diddy's former business partner, appears again, visibly shaken. The power games got too real, he says. There were moments when you could feel it. Something was about to break. It stopped being business. It became survival. Then comes the gut punch. Never before seen footage from the night the Notorious B.I.G. was shot in 1997. The grainy, chaotic footage captures SUV speeding away from the scene. March 9th, 1997, Los Angeles. The night hip-hop lost its brightest star. And Diddy lost his shield. Detective Kading alleges that Diddy made a series of questionable decisions leading up to that night. Most notably, canceling Biggie's scheduled European press tour, keeping him in Los Angeles despite mounting tensions. Kading says he Biggie to his death. Whether he knew it or not, he set up the perfect storm.
Sean signed Biggie in 1992. People didn't know we had to produce Biggie's album for Uptown. He was an Uptown artist. Sean was insanely jealous of Biggie and Pac's friendship.
You know, when I was around Big, I felt like he really loved me. I felt like if I left the room, he wasn't gonna say nothing bad, or somebody said something bad about me, he would defend that.
There's a yearning for him to have that complete, total control. You're my artist, you're my best friend, I make hits with you. Why do we need him in the picture?
Burrows adds another explosive claim that Diddy instructed him to alter Biggie's contract days before the shooting to favor Bad Boy Records. When Burrows refused, he says, "That was the end of my career. I was cut off overnight." The documentary juxtaposes this claim with statements from Wayne Barrow, who managed Biggie's estate. Barrow pushes back hard, saying, "That's false. Puff paid for the funeral, every cent. We reviewed every royalty statement. Not a dollar was taken from Biggie's estate." Netflix editors weave in court footage, newspaper headlines, and old interviews to paint a portrait of chaos and contradiction. One where loyalty and betrayal blur into each other. Then comes the most debated revelation. Did Diddy make Biggie's estate pay for his own funeral? The doc airs Kirk Burrows' shocking account that Diddy insisted on the biggest funeral New York has ever seen, but then wanted it recouped from Biggie's royalties. The claim ignites immediate outrage online. However, Wayne Barrow's rebuttal and Janice Wallace's statements offer a counterbalance, painting the story as a mix of truth, ego, and revisionism. One critic in the doc summarizes it best: when you control the narrative, you control the memory. And Diddy always controlled the narrative. Until now. By dawn, hashtag Tupac Truth had racked up tens of millions of mentions. Fans couldn't stop replaying Greg Kading's testimony. The moment he read aloud the proffer statement from Keefe D, alleging that Sean Combs offered $1 million for the deaths of Tupac and Suge Knight. The clip, just 47 seconds long, became the most shared segment of the entire series within 24 hours.
What made it a specific, like, hey, I'm serious, I want you guys to kill these guys?
When he told me the greenback.
How's it go? How's the conversation go? I mean, okay, listen, I'll do it, but I need $500,000, or, you know, I've got somebody who will do it, but I need $300,000. I mean, we need really specific details regarding that.
Yeah, we wanted $1 million.
You said you walked downstairs. Did he say, come meet me downstairs?
Yeah, he said, come on downstairs and talk to me.
Oh. He tells you, seriously, man, I need to get rid of these guys. I mean, he's looking at you in the eyes and he's like scared.
In your opinion, the specific reason he asked you to come downstairs and talk to him was about that thing, not about liquor or anything. It was about that.
You tell him we'll do it for $1 million, and he's like, okay, I'll do it for $1 million. He agrees. You shake on it or something like that.
He like, man, we'll wipe out quick. You know, it's nothing.
Who brought up the amount of $1 million?
He did.
Puffy did?
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't you?
No, it wasn't me.
TikTok was flooded with reaction videos. Creators sitting in stunned silence, mouths covered, captions reading, "I wasn't ready for this." Others began connecting dots between the documentary's timeline and decades of rumors buried in old interviews. Conspiracy creators reignited long-dormant theories. Some argued that the FBI buried evidence to protect high-profile names, while others speculated that Suge Knight and Diddy were pawns in a much bigger political game. Reddit threads exploded overnight, particularly in r/hip-hop conspiracy, where users began cross-referencing LAPD documents shown in the series with previously leaked police reports. One top comment summarized the collective disbelief. "We grew up thinking this was an East versus West thing. Now it looks like it was all business. Bloody business." The re-examination of the East Coast-West Coast war reopened old wounds across the hip-hop community. Fans started debating the line between competition and blood feud, posting clips of the 1995 Source Awards alongside newer interviews from Suge Knight and old Bad Boy promos. YouTube exploded with explainers titled "What Diddy Didn't Want You to Know," "The Real Reason Pac and Biggie Died," and the $1 million hit, "Fact or Fiction." Hip-hop historians and podcasters rushed to respond, some defending Diddy's innocence, others admitting that after this episode, denial isn't so easy anymore. Even longtime collaborators like Faith Evans and Lil' Kim began trending, as viewers revisited old interviews for hidden clues or emotional tells. The internet was treating The Reckoning not as a documentary, but as a true crime investigation that had finally broken open. The documentary's claim that Diddy ushered Biggie to his death by canceling his Europe tour became one of the episode's most debated topics online. Fans dissected the timeline, comparing Biggie's last interviews with footage from the Party and Bullshit event. The funeral controversy, whether Diddy allegedly charged costs back to Biggie's estate, sparked moral outrage. Some viewers called it heartless beyond comprehension. Others, citing Wayne Barrow's rebuttal, insisted that rumors were twisting grief into spectacle. Regardless, the debate pushed the documentary into a new realm of virality. People weren't just talking about it, they were investigating it. By the time episode 3 begins, The Reckoning has already pulled back the curtain on Diddy's rise, his rivalries, and the shadow of violence that trailed him through the 1990s. But this chapter, titled Official Girl, shifts the focus from fame to power, from the music to the people he controlled behind closed doors. It's not about the empire anymore. It's about the women who survived it. The episode opens in silence. We see glittering images of Diddy's platinum years, glossy music videos, champagne parties, yachts, Ciroc ads, Met Gala entrances. His voice narrates from an old 2006 interview. "I'm a king. I don't chase love. Love chases me." Then the music cuts. The screen turns black, and a voice says, "But what if love wasn't what they were chasing?" From there, the illusion of glamour collapses. The first 10 minutes recap Diddy's dominance after Biggie's death, Bad Boy's rebirth, the Sean John fashion line, and chart-topping hits like "I'll Be Missing You" and "I Need a Girl." On the surface, this was a man who had conquered grief and turned pain into an empire. But as the montage fades, the tone shifts to a stark confession from an anonymous industry insider. When Pac and Big died, Puff didn't slow down. He sped up. He thought he was untouchable. That's when the darkness got creative. We're then introduced to the 1999 New York nightclub shooting, where Natanya Rubin claims